This is a reading from the book of Ezekiel. Thus says the Lord God, I too will take from the crest of the cedar, from its topmost branches, I will tear off a tender shoot and plant it on a high and lofty mountain. On the mountain heights of Israel, I will plant it. It shall put forth branches and bear fruit and become a majestic cedar. Birds of every kind shall dwell beneath it, every winged thing in the shade of its boughs, and all the trees of the field shall know that I, the Lord, bring low the high tree, lift high the lowly tree, wither up the green tree, and make the withered tree bloom. As I, the Lord, have spoken, so will I do. This is the word of the Lord. Today's psalm response, Lord, it is good to give thanks to you. It is good to give thanks to the Lord, to sing praise to your name most high, to proclaim your kindness at dawn and your faithfulness throughout the night. Lord, it is good to give thanks to you. The just shall flourish like the palm tree, like a cedar of Lebanon shall they grow. They that are planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our God. Lord, it is good to give thanks to you. They shall bear fruit even in old age. Vigorous and sturdy shall they be, declaring how just is the Lord, my rock, in whom there is no wrong. Lord, it is good to give thanks to you.
A reading from the second letter of Paul to the Corinthians. We continue to be confident. We know that while we dwell in the body, we are away from the Lord. The walk by faith, not by sight. I repeat, we are full of confidence and would much rather be away from the body and at home with the Lord. This being so, we make it our aim to please Christ, whether we are with him or away from him. The lives of all of us are to be revealed before the tribunal of Christ, so that each one may receive our recompense, good or bad, according to our life in the body. This is the word of the Lord.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Jesus said to the crowd, "This is how it is with the reign of God. You scatter seed on the ground, then go to bed and get up day after day. Through it all, the seed sprouts and grows without your knowing how it happens. The soil produces of itself first the blade, then the ear, finally the ripe wheat in the ear. When the crop is ready, you wield the sickle, for time is ripe for harvest." He went on to say, "What comparison shall we use for the reign of God? What image will help to present it? It is like mustard seed, which, when planted in the soil, is the smallest of all the earth's seeds, yet once it is sown, springs up to become the largest of shrubs, with branches big enough for the birds of the sky to build nests in its shade. By means of many such parables, he taught them the message in a way they could understand. To them, he spoke only by way of parable, while he kept explaining things privately to his disciples. The Gospel of the Lord. Buenos dias. Today's Gospel of the mustard seed reminds us that even the smallest of seeds, if it is planted in the right place and tended to by the Spirit, can take root and grow. Sure, there are setbacks and unexpected challenges, but growth, it is a persistent thing, and as we know well, you can't hold back the spring. The Chiapas mission was a mustard seed 25 years ago. Father Jim, Father Enrique, and Reverend Mary traveled to the southern Mexico state where Enrique had ministered. The experience of living with families there and sharing joys and challenges of everyday life was one that resonated with our commitment as a community, to be in places where people may be marginalized, excluded, or unable to obtain the standard of living many of us enjoy here. These visits continued. A few projects were started to help individual families. A few programs were launched to help the larger community. Some programs grew and are around today, like the coffee program we have and Las Becas Scholarship that Lori will share about. Some are not around today, but all of them serve to grow us, have a better understanding of what it really means to walk in solidarity with a community so different than our own. Regardless of the programs, we kept doing the most important thing, and perhaps the hardest thing, showing up. We began calling these visits pilgrimages because they represented new frontiers discovered. Much like the Heart of the City retreat here in Rochester, we began referring to pilgrimages as the Corazón de Chiapas experience, the heart of Chiapas. So the name has evolved over time, our programs have grown and changed, and the pilgrimage experience has changed and expanded to include more people and places to visit. But there is one thing that has largely remained unchanged. When people are interested in making the pilgrimage, we get asked quite frequently, what will we do when we get there? Many times people share about a skill they have for a project. We reply that there are no projects. Maybe a bike or two to fix, perhaps some engineering know-how needed to hang a piñata. We emphasize that the pilgrimage is to go and simply be with families and spend time with people in the communities that we support. The realization of living, not just visiting, becomes clear, living with families. Perhaps not knowing the Spanish language becomes a concern. And we understand. We've been there. It is intimidating at first, but it melts away. And we can promise an unforgettable experience. And we've not been wrong in almost 28 years. We believe people begin to think about going to Chiapas in a different way after these conversations, less about doing and more about being. But I get it. We refer to this as the Chiapas mission. And I myself went on my first visit 25 years ago thinking that we would be doing a project of some kind. But it was just really, for me, a new beginning in my own faith journey, and it's an honor every pilgrimage to see how the Corazón de Chiapas experience impacts the faith journey of others. So the mission is more than us going there and giving. It is us going, being in the awkwardness and unpredictability together, overcoming barriers together, celebrating as brothers and sisters together, receiving the grace and embracing the love and humility of it all together, pilgrims. And it may be that we are the project, building relationships, demolishing fear, planting justice, growing solidarity. Now, we don't expect that the question of what will we do when we get there to go away, and in fact, I hope it doesn't. It's kind of fun to bring it up after a couple of days in Chiapas, after one of the pilgrims has just passed an amazing day walking around, pantomiming to communicate, playing with kids, heart full from taking in the whole thing. Right when they're about to sit down and enjoy a freshly prepared, lovingly made, homemade meal, so good, maybe some freshly squeezed orange juice, perhaps a child still beckoning to play. I like to lean over and say, "Are you missing a project now?" And in that moment, the power of just being and not doing wins the day. But make no mistake, because we show up, we know these families who have given so much to us can use our support to become stronger and more secure in their future.
Las Becas is our scholarship program, and it's a seed that has grown and today impacts the lives of many young people and their families in our beloved community. It started over 15 years ago with an idea by Ann Zengerle to start a fund for 3 families who needed help with school expenses. Today, with your generosity, the fund helps 43 students to help them pay for school expenses and other things, ensuring that they stay on a pathway of education that leads to better career opportunities and a higher standard of living. Las Becas is special because it's administered by a young teacher, Nigeli, and her sister, Gloria, along with their parents, Julio and Azalia, who have been opening their homes and their hearts to pilgrims for more than 25 years. Education provides a fighting chance to significantly improve quality of life, one person, one family at a time. In Chiapas, a solid career may mean the difference between having a dirt floor or a concrete one, tin walls or brick, between relying on today's wage for a meal tonight or having a dependable job. Dramatic examples? No, this is the reality of life in Chiapas. But these families, they have grit. They don't complain or consider that they have little to share. Quite the opposite. They are so generous, and they always give their best to us. It's simple, yet familiar. They want more for the next generation. We know, and they know too, that education is el mejor, the best. Las Becas is also providing more than financial means. Moms have formed a prayer group. They learn from each other and support each other spiritually. When there have been unexpected challenges during our visits, these families have always been our angels. This year, because of COVID restrictions, we were able to disperse scholarship money directly to the families instead of relying on Nigeli and Gloria to deliver the funds in person. It made such a difference. We heard from families directly how Las Becas support was needed, especially this past year. You will hear this message in the videos we'll be playing shortly. The pilgrimage experience, as Krista shared, has grown considerably as a result of our coffee program. Café! The typical pilgrimage now includes a trek up and into the mountain rainforest to Simojovel de Allende to visit Cirsa, the coffee cooperative, and a push even higher to indigenous villages that are members of the Cirsa cooperative. Pretty impressive considering that our coffee program that was a seed that was planted by Bob and Kathleen Campbell over 20 years ago. Profits from our coffee sales have helped to fund stoves in the simple homes of indigenous families, providing life-saving ventilation, building supplies to construct mushroom-going huts to provide better nutrition, and Cirsa's new processing facility that enables them to remain competitive with large multinationals. And our coffee program has met with particular growth in spite of the pandemic. We have not been able to visit in 2020, but we furthered our relationship in a very big way. Not only are we buying beans directly from Cirsa and roasting them locally, we are doing so while supporting a good cause through Coffee Connection. We've added online ordering with options for local pickup at 1872 Cafe, home delivery, and shipping to all 50 states. We've opened the door for more opportunity with this program. Sirsa Single Source has been very popular, and it has been enjoyed muchísimo. Buying it means more money back to the Sirsa member families who rely on their sale of coffee beans to make a living. So on your way out, grab a bag, feel good about it, and let us know what you think. My hermanita Krista and I have said enough, so please listen to the heartbeat of our connection with the people whose lives that you are impacting.
Buenas tardes, queridos amigos de Rochester. Este video es para darles las gracias y saber que ustedes son bienvenidos aquí a Chiapas. Ustedes han sido nuestros amigos y los hemos conocido a través del Padre Enrique.
Le mandamos un saludo desde aquí a los amigos de Rochester.
Somos
Ezequiel,
Gloria, César
y Doria.
Mi nombre es Marieli Camacho Díaz, soy la mamá de la becaria que se llama
Romina.
Debido a la pandemia sabemos que ustedes no han podido viajar a Chiapas, pero saben que las puertas de nuestras casas y de nuestro corazón están abiertas para ustedes. Los amamos. Todo Rochester.
Ya que he compartido gran parte de mi vida con ustedes, me he llenado de grandes experiencias, he conocido una cultura nueva, me han enseñado tantas cosas, que sobre todo la más importante, que el amor de Dios no conoce fronteras.
Experiencia de vivencia al recibir a la hermana Lori y a Rey. Y nos pasó algo chusco cuando vino Rey. Él le gustaba mucho comer chicharrón y lo llevamos al cañón del sumidero y él gritaba chicharrón, chicharrón, y nos causó mucha gracia.
Fue una experiencia con John Eisenberg, la primera vez que él vino a Chiapas. Se fueron a San Cristóbal y yo quise lavar su ropa. Y al estarlo lavando, se me rompió una de sus playeras. Para mí fue algo que me daba muchísima pena, cómo decirle a él lo que había hecho. Pero él lo tomó tan a broma y empezó a hacer bromas, decir que era su playera favorita.
Lo que quiero compartirles es que como familia y mi corazón se alegra al saber que un hermano viene a visitarnos en este humilde hogar.
Hola mis hermanos de Spiritus Christi, mi nombre es Nachieli Valle Martínez y es un gusto poder saludarlos aunque sea por este medio. Actualmente estoy colaborando con el proyecto de becas en Chiapas junto con mi mamá Azalia. Este proyecto ha sido de gran beneficio para todas las familias porque ha ayudado a muchos de los estudiantes a poder continuar o terminar sus estudios. De parte de todas estas familias les damos las gracias infinitas y que Dios recompense a cada uno de ustedes todo el apoyo que les envía.
Mi nombre es Andrea Elizabeth.
Mi nombre es Jessica Guadalupe.
Mi nombre es José Eduardo. Mis hijos estuvieron becados anteriormente y gracias a su apoyo pues he podido sacarlos adelante en la prepa, en la secundaria.
Gracias al programa de becas he podido culminar mis estudios. Eso me ha permitido a la vez tener un mejor empleo y darle un mejor sustento a mi familia.
Gracias por la beca que ustedes nos han apoyado, porque con eso ha podido estudiar Luis Alejandro y he estudiado su universidad.
Buenos días, yo soy Eduardo Elí y les agradezco por la beca que me han dado, me ha servido de mucha ayuda. Gran sueño de darle ha sido poder ser veterinario.
Mis planes a futuro es terminar una licenciatura en enfermería.
Ya estoy muy agradecida y estoy a punto de acabar la prepa y una de mis metas es poder estudiar una carrera para poder conseguir un buen trabajo y poder ayudar a mi familia.
Quiero terminar mi carrera de contabilidad para que así después, dentro de unos años, pueda tener alguna dulcería o alguna tienda grande donde pueda invertir y pueda...
Yo quisiera verlo cuando sea más grande, siendo un licenciado, o sea, que tenga su carrera para que él se esfuerce.
Esto es en cuestión de lo que es mi familia. ¿Y qué espero más adelante para mi nena?
Quiero tener un buen puesto para realmente hacer cambios en la administración de los centros de salud que competen al área y así poder brindarles a los miembros de la comunidad la atención a la salud que ellos se merecen. También poder becar a un grupo de jóvenes o niños, porque yo quiero brindar el apoyo que a mí también me brindaron.
¿Qué tal, organización Espíritu Christi? Les habla el ingeniero José Francisco Martínez Hernández, encargado del área técnica de la organización CIRSA.
Buenas tardes, soy el secretario de la organización CIRSA, soy Adolfo González Vázquez, Espíritu Christi, gracias por la organización.
Este video tiene como finalidad agradecerles ante ustedes por parte de todos los socios, directivas, socios e hijos de socios por apoyarnos en diversos proyectos que ustedes han dado hacia la organización. Espero que de aquí en adelante ustedes nos sigan apoyando con diversos apoyos en lo que ustedes gusten dar. Les mandamos un fuerte abrazo en representación de la organización CIRSA y de antemano muchas felicidades. Gracias.
Gracias.
Exhortamos a que vengan a Chiapas, que conozcan nuestra cultura, que se enamoren de nuestro estado, de nuestra gente, que es muy diferente, pero como les decías, nos une una sola cosa, el amor y que creemos en el mismo Dios.
El día que ustedes lleguen a Chiapas ya saben que los vamos a recibir con los brazos abiertos. Que muy pronto estén aquí, los vamos a recibir con mucho cariño. Ya los extrañamos mucho.
Nosotros somos sus amigos, los estimamos, los queremos. Queremos aprender de ustedes, de su cultura, y también ustedes, sí, pueden aprender de nosotros, ¿ya? Gracias y serán siempre totalmente bienvenidos.
Adiós, gracias.
Our community has expanded, as you can now tell. Our hearts are open to them. On behalf of Krista and myself and a dedicated team of perpetual pilgrims, thank you for your generosity in today's collection. It will help fund 43 to 45 scholarships, CIRSA single-source coffee production to support indigenous coffee farmers, and a few work scholarships to help fund a pilgrimage or two for parishioners from here who need help getting there. But mostly, thank you for being Spiritus Christi, for not holding back the spring, for planting and sowing and tending seeds, and for just showing up when and where it really matters. Gracias.
adoraré, te adoraré. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. You're a waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. You are here, moving in our midst. We worship you. We worship you. Aquí está, tocando mi corazón. Te adoraré, te adoraré. Abres camino, cumples promesas, luz en tinieblas, mi Dios, así eres tú. Milagroso, abres camino, cumples promesas, luz en tinieblas, mi Dios, así eres tú. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. You're a waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. You are here, turning lives around. We worship you. We worship you. Aquí estás, te vuelvo a ver, te adoro.